What has happened to my books? This is my writing shelf where I keep all my reference books and the inspiration books and whatever projects I have finished. It's empty. Where'd they go? And up top, that's where all my books go that are inspiring me in my artistic life. Gone. That empty shelf at the bottom, all my knitting books and knitting patterns. And as you can see to right there, those are technique books for artists, applique or lace making or anything that has a technique that I use in my artwork. And that is my shelf of artist materials that I use for collage or painting or what have you. But they too will be empty. Empty like this one. What's going on? Steve's shelf of super oversized books. Empty. This is Steve's library. And you can't even get them all in one shot. And it goes over there. It comes down there. And then down there, down to the floor. All this bottom half has to go. All of it. And then all these have to go. What's going on? Oh, the bookshelf is missing, but not the books. However, that big tall one has to be emptied as well. More missing shelves. Books, but no shelves. The opposite of downstairs. It happened again. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Here are some of the missing books. They're not lost. They're just moved. And there are the knitting books. They've just moved. Did they do this by themselves? Are they really that clever? Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. I hope you enjoyed that little dramatic thing. What's going on? We are getting new flooring and everything on the ground floor has to go upstairs. Not the big furniture, but certainly all the stuff on the shelves so that the shelves can be moved. And these two guys are attached to each other, not to the wall. But there are other spots where things are attached to the wall. So we've been kind of picking away at it for a couple of weeks now, just try and take up a couple of boxes every day. And I've been doing a little bit of purging along the way, but not for books. I've done that already once in the last 2 years where I went through everything and just thought, no, this is like I've reached my limit of what I can get rid of. And in the doing of it, though, I thought, oh, you know what? Here's some great books that you guys probably have never encountered. So I've got some fun books coming our way. In the meantime, the flooring probably won't happen until mid-January. And it has certainly taken my attention. The other thing that's taken my attention has been I've returned to my knitting. I just kind of got off of it. I was reading so much in December that it was like a choice between reading and knitting, and I didn't get a good balance. So now I've sort of skewed the other way, but mostly because I keep making mistakes and having to rip it back out. So I haven't actually started any knitting. I have started and restarted, and I think maybe I've got it this time. But anyhow, that's cut into my reading time. And the other thing that I've done, because people have been posting their best of 23s or mostly their best of 23s. I have watched some of those videos, and I had a bit of a backlog in terms of videos that I had saved where someone had referenced a book that I thought I would like, and I just put it in my to-do later pile of videos to watch. And so I have also gone all the way through that. And that also gave me an idea about I should do something on the booktubers that I watch most often. So consequently, I haven't done very much reading, but I do have a book, I wonder where it is, that I have enjoyed. Let me tell you about it. This is Tommy Douglas, nonfiction, written by Vincent Lam. And I love this color. I don't know what era of painting that is, but who did the cover art? The cover art was done by Darren Booth, who I've not had a chance to look up. This book comes from the Extraordinary Canadians series, and they're all different authors and all kinds of different Canadians. Of course, there's a predominance of men. The 2 or 3 women are not surprising. Emily Carr and Nellie McClung, Lucy Maud Montgomery, and I think that's it. Anyways, there's a couple of others that are more on the political side. Stephen Leacock, who we have in the Canadian Stephen Leacock Award for Comedy Writing. So there's quite a lot of interesting people in here. So if you're doing Jolene's Bookworm Adventures Reading Across Canada 2024, this might be an interesting series for you to take a gander at, because if Vincent Lam's writing is anything to go by, it's really good. Okay, why did I pick this up? Well, I'm, a hard-dyed NDP and probably swinging towards socialism at its biggest and worstest, which generally takes you to the countries of Finland and Sweden and, places like that where actually they care about their people. Canada has a long ways to go before it's truly a socialist country, and I don't think it's going to get there myself. But all of the things that we take for granted in Canada, like our Medicare and maternity leaves, paternity leaves, unions, the right to form a union, the right to holidays, the right to a 6-week or 5-week, depending on the era, work week, minimum wage, benefits, all these kinds of things that we take for granted come out of the Tommy Douglas platform from Saskatchewan back in the 1930s. I mean, he started getting going not so much politically, but as a preacher, and would preach things from the pulpit, and also in his community outreach. So they would do soup kitchens. He was really coming into his ability to affect things during the Depression. So he also worked with farmers who were losing their farms, and he did a lot of on-the-ground hard work. And as a result, he started to formulate these ideas that, does it have to be this way? Do all of our taxes have to go to big corporations? Could we not hang on to some of them here in Saskatchewan and use them for social programming? It just evolved. And what was interesting for me is that I knew that was true, that's actually, a fact. But what's happened over the years is that the Liberal Party, because quite often the Liberal Party is in power as a minority government, they have to negotiate with who's ever in the minority with them. They can't pass a law unless, there's agreement. So in the last, I don't know how many years, the NDP, or it was called the CCF before that, was sort of their partner in crime, if you like. And in order for the Liberals to get something, they had to agree to something that the CCF and then the NDP wanted. So the Liberals would bring in some of the old age pension platforms and so on. They would mention them in their political doing before an election, but then never act on it. So once the CCF built enough momentum, they held the Liberals accountable. So yes, there are a lot of laws and human rights and so forth that come under the Liberal prime ministers, but that means that there was a Tommy Douglas kind of a person poking him in the ribs from behind. So very, very interesting, not just because I'm an NDP fan, but also because if you're a Liberal, you will get a better sense of how some of the Liberal policies and lifestyles, I think, come into being. And when I say lifestyles, I mean that Canada, being a fairly wealthy nation, still does not rely entirely on our wealthiest citizens to prop the rest of us who don't have the best of the best up, because they can't be relied on. It's like you take an entire society and you look longingly at an individual, and they're like, no, that's my money, like, go away. So you need some sort of government intervention if you expect your citizenship to have some kind of dignity of life. That's my philosophy. I don't know what the conservative parties would think. Things have changed so much in the last 10, 15 years that like I sort of have to do another reading to just find out. I'm very, very much not a person who reads current events. I used to be so on it. Local politics, I knew everything there was to know, and it just gave me so much anxiety that I had to stop. Had to take a little break. It's getting so cold in the house. Steve's got a fire going, but I wanted to get a cowl and finish this off before I go and sit down and read. So, Tommy Douglas by Vincent Lam. Completely recommend it as a nonfiction biography of the man and the socialist development, social programming in Canada. Yeah, darn good. Right, the other thing I'm going to read today, and I love this book. This is Horn Book. It's a little magazine, comes out of the States, and this is the January-February issue about books for children and young adults. I've had a subscription to this for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, maybe longer. Some months are more interesting than others. They've got a couple of months that have themes attached to them, and there's some where they feature the award-winning, the prize winners' acceptance speeches for the Newbery or what have you, and I don't find those very interesting. But what I love to do is get a juicy colored magic marker, and then I go through and I circle. It's just crazy. I'll circle the books. I'll circle the ads. If something catches my attention in the editorial parts of things, I'll circle their back lists of an author, or if it's an illustrator, I'll see if I can get hold of the back lists of illustrators. So I find it great fun. I don't often have them in my library at the time that this is published. Our library seems to be about 6 months behind as a rule. So I have kind of an ongoing thing in my TBR, is that Horn Books, going back for as long as I've had subscriptions, I'm always kind of keeping that in the back of this in the background in order to check and see whether there's something there and whether I can get it now, and then there's some books that just never show up. So I always have the Horn Book book list going on in the background. So that's what I'm going to do this evening. And I think that's it for me. I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true. I don't know what will happen next week. I think that the Flooring guys are coming on a Tuesday, but they won't commit. But if that's the case, I'll just find something else to do and see if I can videotape you from a different location. So I hope your books don't go missing and your bookshelves stay full. Bye-bye for now.